Alright, welcome back to X-Men Classics. This is episode number 10, and in this episode, we're going over issues 17 and 18 of Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1. These issues were released in February and March of 1966. Also, I forgot to mention in the previous video that starting with issue 14, the series became monthly. Yep, it switched from bi-monthly, every couple months, to every month now. Yep. So, yeah. So the issue opens up, basically picking up like pretty much almost immediately after the events of the previous issue, of the previous three issues, after the previous saga, and this army general is thanking Xavier for assistance. Now they think of him as a civilian advisor; they don't know he's actually of the X-Men. So he sends his troops to scour the Sentinel base to see if any of the robots still moving around. So he asked the X-Men to the X-Men to drive him to a school, but before he leaves, he telepathically tells Beast and Iceman for Beast to not take off his mask, and Iceman to stay in ice form. So they drive back to the hospital, and man, oh man, the Sentinel base is in ruins. Yeah, but the Sentinels themselves, there's nothing really much brought up the fact that, and this is never like follow up on this issue. It takes a while for follow up anything of the Sentinels. And there's a phone call, basically checking any messages. Angel takes the messages for at the school and finds out his parents are there. Parents are coming, and Angel does not want to see the school, to see them at the school, like he doesn't want them basically to see a deserted school. So he flies back to he asks Angel to give him the phone. Of course, telepathically, tells him basically he already knows everything. So he talks to Angel's father. Tells everything is fine. They're on a field trip. So he tells Angel to figure out what's going on at the school. So that he flies back to the school, and somebody is lurking around the school. So he takes a look around the school, and somebody takes him out. We'll reveal who it is at the end of the issue, at the end of this part here. And and a doctor tries to examine Cyclops' eyes, and he explains why he can't examine his eyes because he has his deadly optic blast behind his eyes. So he talks to asks Xavier. He asks Cyclops to take him outside so he can talk to him. He suspects something wrong. He lost contact with Angel, so because the fact that Iceman and Beast are basically out of commission, and Jean needs to keep an eye on them. So they both drive back to Xavier, and they drive back to school, and figure out that Cerebro's gone off. And then one of the things from Cerebro goes off and takes Xavier hostage. Cyclops taken out too by mysterious force. Who it is in a few minutes. Basically, and stuff like going around Beast is fully recovered, but Iceman is not recovered yet. So they head back to school, and they're taken hostage by who it is I'll reveal soon. And so the villain of the issue stops them in a balloon that'll take them 100,000 feet in the air, and the balloon goes basically out of sight. So the Warringtons basically show up at the Xavier Institute. They open the door, and it's and the person who opens the door for them is Magneto. Yep, he was one behind everything on this issue. Now, somebody thinking, if you're reading the series, how the heck did he back to Earth? I thought he was sent to space with a stranger. Well, he explains in the very next issue. In issue number 18. Now, one thing I should note: this is the second to last issue Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were ever on. Well, Jack Kirby himself has already left the series. 17 was his last issue. This, by far, issue 18 is the second to last issue Stan Lee ever wrote for the series, which is a nice, little finale. He brings back Magneto, probably his best creation he did for the series. So the X-Men are still in the sky, and of course, Magneto tries to pick the school up. And he puts the school back down. The school's a little messed up. And he does something quite shocking. Excuse me. He destroys the first model. He destroys Cerebro Mark 1. Yeah, he destroys Cerebro Mark 1 and think, oh, he doesn't need it anymore. But that was the first. That was story mark 1. Xavier does get an update a little bit later, but that particular version of Cerebro, that's gone. This version, which would have been in the X-Men comics at this point in time for about maybe 2 years, and he destroys it. And all of this takes place just before. Now, a lot of this part of this issue, the first 3 pages take place just before the finale for the previous issue. Basically, kind of explains like he was behind everything, and he asks an order around. He asks his parents are here. And somehow he does something quite. This is something he doesn't do today. His magnetic attraction, and he directs him to a room upstairs so they can go to sleep. Now he has nothing against Warren's parents at all. He wants revenge against the X-Men. Fine. So because Iceman is solo and they wanted to reveal his secret identity, they gave him this big, humongous like machine gun needle. Look at this thing. It's freaking huge. And he gives him this. And this drug actually helps him. It actually heals him. And so Xavier Stark's got this little captive thing. He gets out of it, contacts Iceman. He telepathically contacts all the X-Men basically out of the little tube. They wake up. And apparently Magneto's plan is to create more mutants. Okay. Yeah, he also did this in the first X-Men film as well. But this one, yeah, so you can kind of see where the X-Men got the idea of Magneto creating other mutants. So he builds a machine out of scraps, and he wants a mutant army. And basically, he also keeps an eye on Warren's parents, which are fast asleep. Now, this is something that's a bit unusual. You might see in Modern Eyes, but you see Warren's parents sleeping in separate beds. Despite the fact this is a married couple, they don't share a bed at all. This is the 60s, and I allow him to get away. I allow Stan Lee to get away with this. So they're asleep. They're asleep the entire issue. So Iceman is healed slowly. He's still a little weak, and he leaves the room. And it's now explained exactly how Magneto got back to Earth. And apparently he brought Tow with him. He didn't bring Tow with him. He just builds a rocket, and he goes back to Earth, leaves Tow behind, and the X-Men basically escape from their little mini prison, and somehow Iceman gets to the Xavier Institute, and of course here's Magneto creating his mutant army, and of course Iceman takes on Magneto. Gets past him, somehow easily defeats him, and of course explain in a minute what Xavier's up to. You get Magneto turned away, and everybody's and the X-Men start attacking Magneto, and apparently he also takes Iceman a bit hostage a bit, takes him briefly captive, and everybody's attacking and says tell him to stop fighting, and it turns out what exactly he's doing. He contacted the Stranger. Yes, he contacted the Stranger. So what does Magneto do? He flees. And then the issue ends. Well, they actually stop the thing. The androids disappear. And the issue ends simply with Warren's parents having dinner with the rest of the Xavier students. Where's that thing? Oh. Anyways, that's it for those 2 issues. 2 really good issues. I mean, not as epic as the previous 2 issues. I'm sure Stan Lee probably wanted to calm down. He probably wanted a little calm little mini story just before he ended his run. That's why I think his run ends with the very next issue. And with this 2-parter, in the first part of this 2-parter. That was Jack Kirby's last issue he drew for the series. Issue 17 was his last issue he wrote for the series. Jack Gavin takes over the arc for pretty much a good period of time for the series. But this 2-parter was still pretty good. I mean, you got to see the return of Magneto. I mean, it had only been, 6 issues since he even last seen? But at least it was actually a bit longer than the last time he disappeared for. where he was like gone. I mean, the first time he's returned, he made his return 3 issues later after his debut appearance, and then he started appearing like regularly after that, skipping like 2 issues. And after this 2-parter, he doesn't appear in the Stan Lee run ever again. He doesn't return for like a while. But it's a really good 2-parter, and I highly recommend it. And basically, not much of a debut. I mean, the only kind of development this 2-parter does is that you see the return of Magneto and the destruction of the original version of Cerebro. That's basically it. There's no first-time appearances in these 2-parter. The only noteworthy things about this 2-parter is that Jack the King Kirby stops drawing the book after the start of this 2-parter. But still a nice 2-parter to sort of kind of almost end Stan Lee's run with next issue. And the next episode I'm willing to do just 1 issue because it's just a standalone issue. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode number 11 where I will go over Stan Lee's last issue for Uncanny X-Men, and that will be issue number 19, and I will do that in the very next episode. So until then, see you there. Bye.